This is where we're headed tonight. Everybody thinks that Stromboli is straight from Italy. It was actually invented right here by an Italian immigrant. About the same thing as saying a Caesar salad is Italian when it was actually invented in Mexico. And the base to every great Stromboli is a great sauce. And that's what we're covering today. We'll start with the actual history of the Stromboli. In 1944, a guy named Nazareno Romano, everybody called him Nat. He'd been slinging tomato pies off a wagon in South Philly for years, so the guy knew his stuff. In the winter of 1949 heading into 1950, Nat had some leftover cold cuts sitting around. Ham, Italian sausage, some cheese, some peppers. Instead of tossing it out, he rolls it up in this bread dough and bakes it. He didn't even have a name for it, just the rolled up thing. Sold like crazy anyway. The problem is you can't put the rolled up thing on the menu. So a customer by the name of Bill Schofield, who by the way later marries into the family, Bill looks at this cheesy rolled up sandwich, cheese exploding out of a cut end. Bill looks at this thing and he says, it looks like an exploding volcano. And since it was Italian, he said, name it Stromboli, after the Italian island with a volcano on it. Also during this time, there was a big movie named Stromboli that was all over the news because of this scandalous love affair. So the name was already pretty popular, so it just made sense, and it stuck. So really the Stromboli is named after a volcano, which if you've ever had heartburn from one, it checks out. All right, and there's more to the Stromboli story. We just scratched the surface. And I'll finish that story once we make the marinara sauce. Again, a great pizza, calzone, Stromboli, what have you, is nothing without a great marinara sauce. But if you have your own recipe or your favorite sauce that you want to use, by all means, go for it. If that's what you love, use it. Marinara's real name is sailor sauce. Neapolitan wives threw it together real quick with tomatoes and garlic and whatever herbs that they had laying around because the boat wasn't waiting for a 4-hour simmer. And here's how we're making it tonight. I'm dicing up 2 Roma tomatoes and we're gonna use a full can of San Marzano tomatoes. Cento is probably the best brand out there, but you have to be careful when buying this because there's another one out there that says Italian style that looks pretty darn close, but it's not the same thing. This is the one you want. If you don't have fresh garlic clove, minced garlic will work just fine. That's fresh. Usually I'll add half of a yellow onion, but this is a big one, so I'm only gonna put a quarter of this guy in there. All right, into our pan goes about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Put that pan on medium-low heat. Add our onion, add our garlic, about a half a teaspoon of crushed red pepper. And we'll cook this down until the onions are a little translucent. After about 5 minutes, the onions are looking good. In go the Roma tomatoes. We'll just cook these until they break down a little. San Marzano. And break those San Marzanos down. 1 teaspoon of dry oregano. 1 teaspoon of salt. 1 teaspoon of pepper. I'll just bring this to a simmer and let it simmer for about 45 minutes just to let those flavors meld. Okay, it's been about 45 minutes. If it's too acidic for your taste, you can add a pinch of sugar. You can go ahead and turn off the heat now. And then add 3 to 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Bloop. We're using fresh basil. Add in about 1 tablespoon. Stir it in there and your sauce is done. All right, with the sauce done, let's roll this Stromboli and finish that story. By the way, we're using store-bought pizza dough, which you can find in almost every deli. In fact, if you ask your favorite pizzeria if you can buy some of their uncooked dough, I can almost guarantee you they'll sell you some. So sprinkle just a little bit of flour out on some parchment paper, or if you have a silicone pad, that'll work as well. Now back to the story while I roll this out. The Oxford Dictionary went digging for the oldest written proof that the word Stromboli ever got used for food. Earliest one they found was in one sentence, buried on page 21 of the Philadelphia Inquirer, April 10th, 1950. A columnist just wrote, the hoagie is now called Stromboli. He didn't explain it. He didn't write anything else. He just dropped it and moved on with his day. The guy passed away in 1975 and never once had to answer for that sentence. Absolute legend for doing the bare minimum. And then how did the Stromboli make it out of Philadelphia? Well, with Philly International Airport just right down the road, and flight crews started taking Strombolis home. That was basically the Stromboli's first marketing campaign. Flight attendants, they went viral before viral was a thing. The original place is still open, by the way. Romano's in Essington, Pennsylvania. 4th generation family still running over 75 years. You want to roll this out about as thin as you can get it and about as rectangular or square as you can get it. I think that's good, and I don't need that big of a Stromboli. Lunch meat typically goes in these, but you can put anything you want in these. You want to go ahead and preheat your oven at 380. We just want to paint the edges with some melted butter and garlic powder. Most recipes also call for a very thin layer of marinara sauce before you lay anything down, and that's totally fine. You can do that. It's yours, make it however you want it. Start with your meat, whether it's lunch meat, ham. I'm gonna start with pepperoni, a little bit of hamburger meat, a little bit of bacon, some fresh cooked mushrooms, some black olives, some pickled jalapenos, and a couple of hot banana peppers. And last, you wanna put your cheese on. Putting your cheese on last will help prevent the cheese from busting out while it cooks, but we all know it's gonna bust out anyways. It always does. Also, get the good mozzarella, not the shredded stuff, not the block stuff that you shred yourself. Get the good stuff. You can also find that in the deli section. All right, now that we have our Stromboli loaded up way too high, let's see if we can roll this. Just roll it kind of like a burrito without tearing it like I just did. And then pinch the ends over. Add a couple slices to the top just to let it breathe while it cooks. That'll help release the steam and hopefully prevent bustage, but these things always bust open. Still tastes good though. Now you can just take your parchment paper and transfer it straight to the pan. Now we want to brush that garlic butter on top. Sprinkle just a little bit of oregano, and if you like a spicy crust like I do, sprinkle some cayenne on there. And into the preheated oven we go. Now we just wait 15 to 25 minutes. You just keep checking on it, make sure it doesn't burn. And when the center of the Stromboli is about 165 to 175 degrees, it's done and you can pull it out. And there we have it. We didn't even get anything busting out. Not even out of that hole that I accidentally cut open. So after 15 minutes at 380, I didn't like the color that it was getting on top, so I turned it up to 400 degrees. 6 minutes later, so 21 minutes total, it was temping about 172 inside, so it's done. So we're gonna let this cool off for a few minutes, and then we're gonna cut it open and see how it looks. No volcanic eruptions here, just my taste buds really wanting to dig into this. Let's see how we did. It's pretty good. Holy Stromboli, that's good. Let's try it with this fresh marinara. A leftover sandwich named after a scandal, spread by flight attendants, immortalized by one guy who couldn't explain himself. Stay spicy, my friends. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.